Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy, and in today's video we're comparing a 2020 Jeep Gladiator Mojave to a 2020 Ram 1500 Rebel. I know it seems weird because I'm comparing a mid-size truck to a full-size truck. However, both of these have off-road type suspension, lockers in the rear, and so yeah, they're actually pretty similar. That all being said, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Provo for providing us with the Gladiator and the Rebel. Check out their inventory link below. Let's get right into the video. Going to the hoods of both of the vehicles, starting with the Mojave. So under the hood we have a naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 285 horsepower and then 260 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 17 around town and then 22 on the highway. The axle ratio is 4:10. In terms of the Rebel, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic. Power outputs are 395 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque, and then the axle ratio on this is 3.92. Now let's go over the front ends of both of the vehicles. Starting with the Mojave, you've got like the singular hood scoop right there at the top. It says Mojave right there. On the side, you've got full LED lights and then a signature Jeep grille. Got the orange tow hooks, which are pretty neat. Fog lights just down there at the bottom portion. And then going over to the Rebel, you've got all the venting on the hood. Is it real? That's very questionable, but you've got the 5.7 liter Hemi badging right there. Still looks cool. And then you've got the Ram logo here on the front. Full LED lights as well, LED fog lights, and then you've got your tow hooks there at the bottom, which are finished in black. Completely different in terms of the aesthetic. This is kind of like more of like a modern kind of like sleek look, whereas this is like your old school boxy look. Let's go over the tire and wheel setup, starting with the Ram 1500. We've got 18-inch wheels, 275 millimeter tires. They are 33s on this, and then we've got 17s, 285 millimeter for the tire. They're also 33s. And then you guys can kind of notice the subtle differences on the tread pattern between the two tires on this. And so just so you guys know, those tires are gonna ride a little bit noisier compared to these ones just because of the tread pattern. Not gonna be a huge difference, but there will be a difference. And then also looking at the suspension, this one does not have the air suspension. It's the traditional coilover suspension, so you can see the shock up there in the truck. And then you can see the Fox shocks over here on the Gladiator, and that's all for that. Now coming here to the side, you remember that little Mojave badge right there. You've got the Ram badge right here, Jeep, and then notice it's all accented in orange on the Jeep. And then going to the rear, it's pretty like flat, whereas that pops out quite a bit in normal Jeep fashion. And let's head to the back. Now here is the key fob on the Mojave. You guys will notice you've got the unlock, the lock, and the remote start function. Jeep logo there on the back. To the remote start, just press it twice, and then, well, you'll hear that 3.6 liter V6 come to life. Pretty neat. Press it again and that'll shut it off. Now once we unlock it, you guys will notice that it is slow lowering for the tailgate. This one doesn't have a bed liner, but you can get it as an option. Got LED lights here in the back, and you got a power outlet back there as well, and you can see the rear sliding window there in the rear. And that's all for the Gladiator. Here's the key fob for the Rebel. Notice it says Ram on the back. You've got the unlock, the lock, and the remote start function. Again, do the remote start. You guys will notice this does sound quite a bit better. Yes. Gotta love that Hemi, right? Press that again and that'll shut it off. And then just like the Gladiator, does have a slow lowering tailgate. And then you will notice that this one does not have LED bed lights, no power outlet back here, no bed liner either, but it is a larger size bed. Still get the cargo light at the top, and well, that's all. Now let's go over the rest of the rear. So with the Rebel, you guys will notice you've got all the blacked out logos, the Ram, the Rebel, all that kind of stuff. Blacked out exhaust tips there at the bottom. Got all your parking sensors there on the rear as well. And then coming over here to the Gladiator, you guys will notice that you've got the LED lights right there. Got orange accenting with the tow hooks and with the Jeep badge, all that kind of stuff. Little receiver hitch there at the bottom, and again, you guys can kind of see the length difference. By the way, the fronts are almost even, and just look how much longer the Ram is compared to the Gladiator. Just take that in. Coming to the back of the Ram, you guys will notice that you've got the leather padding here with the white contrasted stitching, and you got the black trim all across. And then coming here to the seats, this one has the full leather seats here, so you guys will notice that you've got the full leather with the white stitching, pretty soft to the touch. And then Pick these seats up, you notice that there's storage space underneath. You've got the mats here at the bottom, and then you've got the little storage containers here just down below. And then coming over here, you guys notice you got all the vents, USBs, and then you've got the full power outlet, couple cup holders at the top. And then notice how much room there is back here. There's a lot more leg room here in the back of the Rebel. Coming over here to the Gladiator, you notice that you've got the nice orange stitching here, and you've got the soft touch leather, and then again, full leather seats here. But you've got the orange stitching instead of the white stitching like in the Rebel. And then you guys can see on the back of the seat, and then little vents all back here with the light controls, power outlet, couple cup holders, and then also the legroom. I know there's a box in the way, but the legroom is quite a bit less. Coming to the front of the Rebel, we do get keyless entry, and then actually opening it up, you guys will notice here in the door panel, again, you've got the leather here with the contrasted stitching all the way across. Got all of your controls for the windows, your mirror controls as well to power fold them in. And then coming over to the seats, again, you notice the full leather. It's got the Rebel right there on it, and pretty soft to the touch. You've got your light controls here. You've got your little adjustment for the parking brakes, or to turn the parking brake on, your pedal adjustment. And then popping into the Rebel, it's actually pretty easy to get in here, and let's fire this bad boy up. Boom, everything will pop onto life. Look at that screen. Now here is the steering wheel with the Rebel. You guys notice you got the cruise control, your gear selector right there. Controls for the center stack, voice command controls as well. Then you got the stalks for the windshield wiper, and then also to the high beams. And then coming here to the center stack, you notice that it's got a pretty modern gauge cluster here in the center. You notice that the Jeep, the format looks a little bit different, but it's actually pretty similar for the little center stack. Now yes, this one's got the full 12-inch display, so like if I pop it into reverse, for example, you can see the backup camera, and then it'll do split screen with a couple of the other functions on it. You do have a zoom in on the receiver hitch. Now at the rest of the 12-inch display, you've got analog controls flanking either side for the climate, your radio controls. At the bottom, you've got your parking sensor controls. We'll actually turn that down. It's probably pretty loud in the video. Sorry about that, guys. Your tow haul mode, your stability control, your trailer brakes right here. And then with the rest of the screen, you can see response time's really solid on it. I mean, everything happens when you actually press it. I just kind of missed it with my finger because my brain's dying from the heat. Got a couple auxiliary ports right there. You got the center console here, which is all rubber, and then you got the measuring tables in the back. You can slide this backwards and forwards. And then you got a full power outlet down there at the bottom. And then coming over here, you've got a couple of glove boxes, decent amount of storage. You've got the nice leather trim up above. And then if you guys are wondering here at the top, this particular one does have the sunroof, and obviously the power sliding window as well, but you can let some extra light into the cabin through there. And then you got all your garage door openers, and that's all for the top. Now coming over to the Gladiator, we got that same keyless entry, blind spot monitoring on this particular Gladiator, and you can see the door panel with all the orange stitching. Now popping in, definitely easier to get into this. It's definitely not nearly as high up off the ground, but start her up, and geez, that car will not stop honking, but everything will come to life. Here's the steering wheel in the Gladiator. You guys notice you got the cruise control. You've got the little controls to center stack, voice command controls. I mean, it's a Jeep steering wheel, but all the controls are pretty similar. I love the orange stitching all throughout. And then you can see the control for the light, windshield wiper stalk. And then coming here into the center, you guys will notice that it's a little bit different with the look, but you can see the functionality, especially with that little center screen, is pretty much identical to what's in the Rebel. You do get a little off-road status in that as well, though it's pretty cool. And then coming over here to the actual center stack, you notice the screen's quite a bit smaller, but functionality on it's pretty similar. Still get the zoom in on the camera. You just don't get like the cool like dual screen on it, but response time on it is really solid. Still get a dual zone climate, still get heated seats, heated steering wheel. Neither of these vehicles have ventilated seats, sadly. Down here you've got the analog controls for that screen, and then obviously the analog controls for the climate system, your off-road cruise control, parking sensors, stability control, auto stop start. Got all your window controls right here, your little media tab, 12 volt. And then you've got little auxiliary buttons. Got your off-road plus, obviously the locker for the rear, whereas the Rebel just had the rear locker on top of that, so same thing. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, you've got a little driveline select, so for your 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, neutral, and then 4-wheel low. And then coming over here, you've got the shifter for the transmission. You do have the manual shift function. Couple cup holders, your little e-brake. Here is the full center console right there. And then coming over to the glove box, see, that's pretty sweet, and that's all for that part. Well, of course, I forgot to mention the most important part, the Freedom top. This one has the insulation on it, but this is definitely superior to a sunroof because you get that real open top experience, whereas a sunroof is just tiny on the Rebel. But, well, I mean, it's a big sunroof, but like the opening is tiny. That's what I meant. Universal garage door openers, and That's all she wrote. Well, now let's get into pricing on both of the vehicles. So this Ram 1500 Rebel stickers for about $57,000. The Jeep Gladiator stickers for about $59,000. So about a $2,000 price difference. The Rebel's a little bit less expensive, and that's the price. So obviously I do have to pick a winner, and the winner I'm going to pick today is going to be the Rebel. Now the reason I picked the Rebel is it's just better overall as like a functional vehicle. It has more usability in general, and it's less money than the Gladiator. The Gladiator looks cool, it has my heart, but this one, well, it's more reasonable for my wallet. I hope you guys understand with that. Anyways, a huge shout out and thank you to the Large Miller Dodge Ram here in Provo for providing us with the Rebel and with the Gladiator. Check out their return link below. I will see all of you in the next video.